All right, welcome back, guys. In this video, we're going to be talking about your trading plan and your trading journal. You know what they say, that before you take on a venture, be sure that you have planned it well. Planning is the first step of any success. Without proper planning, you might end up bamboozling yourself into a losing trade. Okay, so and that is why we're going to talk about planning. Now in this video, we might not be referring much to the MT4, or rather we'll just be going through a list. I've put together a list. I'm going to post the list in the group as well, so you can copy out the list. If possible, write out the list. If it is possible, write it out with your own hand and be sure that you understand it. Be sure that you understand what you are seeing, and if there's any point there that you don't understand, please let me know. Now you have to plan well before you do anything. In fact, before you take the next step at the end of this my course, you need to sit down and plan and ask yourself, is this what I want? Do I want this financial freedom? And if I want financial freedom, do I want it through Forex? Do I think I can do it? If I think I can do it, or if whoever introduced me to this group thinks I can do it and asks me to do it, he's not going to do it for me. I'm going to do it myself. Is this something I can do on my own without motivation, without encouragement? If nobody else encourages me to take Forex as a business, would I be able to encourage myself? Now, when your answer to these questions are yes, then you can now sit down and say, okay, now I've decided to take Forex on. What do I need to do? You've taken the first step in the plan, which is getting the knowledge. You have acquired the knowledge. Congratulations on that front. But after knowledge, there's still a lot more involved. Forex is a game of discipline and focus. I'm going to emphasize that again. Forex is a game of discipline and focus. Okay? Until you are able to discipline yourself and focus on your target, you would not be successful or profitable in Forex. Now, to make it easier, I've put together a list, okay, of what your trading plan should look like. Now, your trading plan should not just be a trading plan in abstract. It should be a trading plan that is written down in a journal, which brings us to the idea of journal. That's why I put the two of them together. Journal is very, very important in Forex. Journal is not one special book. Forget it. It's just any notebook. Buy a hardcover notebook, any kind of notebook right now. In fact, pause this video, go and look for a hardcover notebook in your house, wherever you can find it. If you don't have any, go and buy one. It's not expensive, with 350 naira, 400, maximum 500. If you want the fancy ones, you can get a very good notebook. It shouldn't be too heavy. Should be something that you can hold and walk around with, because it's going to be with you for a very, very long time, and you have to be able to carry it around with you. So don't buy the big higher education hardcover. No, buy the those small exercise book size, but thick one, as in the one that has a lot of pages, because you're going to be doing a lot of writing inside. You would need this journal for the next 1 year, probably even more. I had my journal, and I still have a journal that I use sometimes now, but I had my journal that I used for over 3 years when I started Forex. Okay, right now I've eased down a little on the journal, but I still have my physical journal that I still write with. I have a journal, I have an app on my tab that I keep journal on, but that notwithstanding, I still have a physical journal that I take some notes on. Physical journal for you at this point is is not, how do I put it? It's not negotiable. It is compulsory. Let me emphasize it, very, very compulsory. So go get that journal right now. Pause this video, go get it. Okay, you're back from getting your journal. Now, in this journal, what are you going to put there? What is this journal going to contain, and why do you need the journal is what we're going to talk about now. The journal is going to contain your trading plan and every single step you take along the way as we go from now onwards. So let's start with your trading plan. Okay, I put together a list, like I said, so I'm just going to slide over to the list now and put it up for you to see. Okay, not editing. Before you begin trading, get a journal. Now, after getting your journal should contain your trading plan. you should be able to answer these questions and answer them correctly. I'm going to post these questions in the group so you can copy them, but I'm going to explain each of them one by one. I'll try to do that as fast as possible so I wouldn't take too much time. Number one, why do you want to do it? That is, what is your motivation for going into Forex? If you check out my website, the bluepipfx.com website, I said, okay, sorry, I had to switch over to the Blue Pip FX website. You see, it's a lovely one. It's beautiful. Okay, so I said you'd have to have an objective, your goal. And what are the goals that I have set here? I said you have extra income, you have more time for more family time, new car, luxurious lifestyle. You need to have something that is driving you. It is compulsory. If you don't have any reason why you are getting into Forex, please get out now. Are they out? Can we continue? Okay, so the rest of us that are here, we know why we are getting into it. If you don't know, find a reason now before you continue. Okay, if you are still here, you are not out yet, and you don't have a reason why you are getting into Forex, pause this video, sit down and ask yourself, why do I need to trade Forex? Number one, it may be because somebody told you can't do it. So you are telling yourself, for you to tell me that I cannot do it, I'm going to make sure I do it. Yes, that's one reason. That's one. It could be for the fun, for the extra income. Oh, I'm making 200,000, maybe 250,000, maybe 100,000, maybe 80,000 in my current job, but I need something more. This cannot sustain me. I need to get married, or maybe I'm married and it's not enough for my family anymore. I need more. Then extra income comes into play. Now, maybe it's because you need more time for your family. Oh, there is too much pressure at my work. As a result of that, I don't have time to get to take care of my children. I need to learn something. I need to do something else so that I can quit this job and still be able to earn well and take care of my family, and then I'll be able to give more time to my children. That is a beautiful goal. That's a beautiful objective, a beautiful reason why you should do it. Oh, I need a new car. I'm tired of driving this same 406. I'm tired of driving this same Mercedes 360. I'm tired of driving this C-Class. I want to drive whatever, 2019 model. Fine. If that is your target, set it as your goal. Maybe a luxurious lifestyle. Or you've seen our artist today, the video is flaunting 30 billion, Wizkid is flaunting that, one is flaunting that much. Everybody go into music to live a luxurious lifestyle. I need something else that can give me a luxurious lifestyle. Yes, that is one other reason. So you need to find a goal. Maybe maybe the babes. Yeah, of course, it could be a reason too. The babes, or probably the guys, or you are tired of depending too much on the guys. You just want to have your own money so that you don't have to ask any guy for anything. And when you are in love with somebody, you know you are in love with the person, not because of the money or anything. That could be your reason. You could be in it for basically any reason at all, but most importantly, find a reason. Now, why do you need a reason? A reason is very important because there are going to come stormy days. I mean, really stormy days that you will think it's over. Like, you know how it gets, as in you are deep underwater. You cannot even find the surface. You don't even know which direction to go anymore. You've lost everything. You've blown your account over and over again. You've borrowed money and put in Forex and you lost it. And it's getting so difficult. Your broker is frustrating you. You try to make withdrawal. They don't give you your fund on time. You call Sebastian, he refuses to answer call, or he can't even find solution to your problem. You've read all the books in this world. They are not making sense to you. Everything seems to be fighting against you in Forex. That's one reason that you are setting up today. Is that one thing that will keep you going, that, okay, despite all this that I am seeing, because of this one reason, because I must make out time for my family. If I don't do this, I won't be able to make out time for my family. So I must do it. That is my motivation. That is my encouragement. That is my push to achieve success in Forex. And you keep going. I've been at this for almost 10 years. I've had my very terrible times. Some of you here can testify to that. Some friends that I have here can testify to that. In fact, at the moment, I am still trying to get out of some of those mess that I have been in for a while. So it is that motivation that would keep you going. Okay, so that is one. Why do you want to do it? Number two, know yourself. What type of trader are you? I've talked about that extensively. This is why I took time to explain that in details initially. So you have position traders, day traders, intraday traders. Both of them are almost the same, or scalper. So know the kind of trader that you are and let it be written down in your journal. I am a scalper. on the first page of your journal, write your objective, Gadagba. Let me speak it in our layman language. Write it big, write it massively on the first page, or maybe the second page or third page, wherever the first page you are going to start writing with. Write it there. How, the reason why you want to do it, make it big. Now, third reason. What kind of analysis do you prefer? We've talked about different types of analysis: the technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and sentiment analysis. Now, you need to know which kind of analysis do you prefer. I have a mentor who trades only fundamental analysis. He doesn't do technical analysis. And if you are in my Signal group, you would have seen some of my attempts. Let me call it attempts. Some of my recent attempts to do fundamental analysis. Yes. Fundamental is not easy, but it's cool too. Technical has always been my thing. I've always done technical. I do fundamental too, but my fundamental has always been, okay, check the news before you take a trade. Okay, sentiment analysis that's cool. So if you want to if you prefer technical sentiment analysis, it means you don't even want to analyze at all. You just want to go through post and channel, checking signal everywhere, and you find a signal, you go and check your MT4 and just take the trade. Well, choose the kind of strategy, analysis strategy that you will prefer. Now, what are your pre-trading routine? Now, this is very important, and probably it's going to sound weird to you, but there is what we call pre-trading routine. What are the things you know, as in you have decided within yourself that you must do before you take a trade? For instance, there are some people who they must take coffee before they start trading. There are people who must eat and be full, like belly full, where before they start trading. They don't trade on empty stomach. And there are people who fast to trade. Like any day they decide to trade, they don't eat that day until they have finished trading for the day. There are people like that. I know a friend who wears one specific clothes anytime he wants to trade. A specific t-shirt and baggy shorts. That's what he wears to trade and he has a specific place where he trades. Doesn't just trade anywhere, doesn't take trades anywhere. He trades at a specific time. So when he wants to trade, he will wear that his t-shirt and his baggy. Once I see him in those clothes, I know he's in a trading environment. He's in his trading environment. That is him. So there are trading routines. There are people who want to eat fruits before they start trading. There are people who probably will start trading immediately after making out. There are people who before they can trade, they must sleep well, as in they only trade when they wake up. So they set an alarm and go to bed. Once the alarm rings, they wake up and go to the market. That's what I mean, go and trade. So you need to know what are your pre-trading routines, if you have any. It's not compulsory you must have your pre-trading routine, but it's good to have it. Now, if you decide to have a pre-trading routine, this is important. You cannot afford to break it. I am telling you from experience, if you decide to have a pre-trading routine, you can't afford to mess with it. Once you decide, okay, I want to have a pre-trading routine, and my pre-trading routine is drinking of coffee before I take a trade, fine. If you don't drink coffee and you enter the market, you will lose all the trade you are going to take that day. It's psychology. It's just mental. It's just mental. That's the fact. So from experience in trade, you can go online and study more about pre-trading routine and learn about it. Hear people's experience about pre-trading routine. You will see how important it is. So it is better not to set it at all than to set it, tell yourself that this is my pre-trading routine, and then you break it. You will fail. All right. Now, having said that, what sessions do you like to trade? We've talked about different trading sessions here. We've talked about the Asian session. We've talked about the London session. We've talked about the New York session. Of course, by default, most Nigerians will trade the New York and London session. But you can decide you want to trade the Asian session and you only want to trade Asian currencies. Of course, that's if you are trading the Asian session, then that would also determine what pairs you'll be trading as well. So you can decide what you want to trade. Choose a session and stick to it. What specific times do you want to trade? So even if you are trading London and New York session, what time of the day do you want to trade? We've talked about different times and what best time to trade. So you need to know what time you want to trade and stick to it. What's your criteria to get into a trade? How many indicators are going to tell me go before I go? How many indicators are going to tell me okay before I take the trade? Or how many indicators are going to give me a check mark before I take the trade? How many indicators am I combining? And what am I going to see on those indicators before I decide to take the trade? So you need to have a criteria to enter a trade. Now, when you enter a trade, what is your minimum pips that you want to get out of each trade? Your minimum target. Okay, I'm getting into this trade. My minimum pip for all my trade is 20 pips. That's my minimum, 20 pips. If a trade has not hit 20 pips, I will not take profit on it and I will not set it. That is why if you check my Signal group, I always say at 15 to 20 pips, please take half profit and move your stop loss to entry position for a risk-free trade. So you need to have a minimum pip that you need to get out of every trade. Then what is your average weekly target or goal? Since you have a minimum goal per trade, then what is your average goal per week? So every week I want to make 100 pips. Please take note that your goal should not be in dollar value. No, it shouldn't be in dollar or naira value. Don't say I want to make $100 every week. No, it should be in pips, because as your account grows, the naira value of your pip that you'll be trading with will be growing as well. For instance, a $200 account might be trading 0.01 lot size, while a $500 account will be trading 0.02 or 0.03 lot size. That automatically doubles or triples the size of your profit, okay, on each of those trades. So it should be in pips. Okay, so if your goal is, let's say, 100 pips, then you know that every week you are targeting 100 pips. And please, once you hit your goal, either daily goal or weekly goal, stop trading. Very, very important. See, all these things I am laying out, they might sound like voodoo or sound like, I beg, it's just talk, Jare, all these things cannot work. Those things work. Forex is a mental thing, it's a psychology thing, it's a spiritual thing. Let me use it like that. It's a spiritual something. Yes, Forex is a spiritual something. So if you have set a goal for yourself, don't exceed it. Let me give you an instance. I have a friend, a very close friend of mine. He's a scalper. He has a goal, $500 every day. Now, he traded. Anyway, his was wrong anyway, because he set his goal in dollar value. It would have been in pips anyway. I said you should not set your goal in dollar value. But his goal was $500 for that time. As his account grows, he changes his goal. He started with $50, then $100, then. So at that point, his goal was $500 because his account was over $3,000 at the time, or thereabout, about 2,000 something. So his goal was $500 every day at the time, and he was keeping to it. On this fateful day, the market was really good. He took some trades, and he made $800 on that day. So he said, I've hit my goal for the day. In fact, I've exceeded my target. I'm not trading again. And then he closed the trade. And I was with him and we agreed nobody is trading again, because I already I hit my target since, and I didn't go into the market again. So I knew he hit his target too, and he said he was not trading again. So we agreed. And my guy got home, and I don't know what came over him. He just opened his account, his MT4, and checked and saw a very lovely trade setup, and he was like, wow, in fact, I need to take this trade. Even if it's only $100 that I target for this one, I will definitely hit it. So my friend took the trade, and then the trade went into profit almost immediately. According to his story, he said he got to $40, $50. He was very excited that he would hit the $100, and then something just happened. He came to start pulling back. 30, 20, 14, 12, 8, 7, 6, minus 4, minus 8, minus 14, and so the account the trade kept dropping and dropping and dropping, and he kept looking at it and he's like, okay, it's just a retracement, it will reverse. It's just a retracement, it will reverse. It's just a retracement, it will reverse. My friend lost $1,750 to that one single trade at the end of the day. Why? Because he did not stick to his target. So the next question is, what percentage of your account are you willing to risk in any trade? My recommendation is always maximum 2% of your account. Don't risk more than 2% of your account on any trade. How do you calculate the percentage of risk on your account? That is setting your stop loss. For instance, you have a $100 account. 2% of $100 is $2. So if you are taking a trade, ensure that your stop loss is set to not cost you more than $2 in pips, which is if you are taking trading at 0.01 lot size, 20 pips should be able to give you about $2. So you are not risking more than 20 pips on that trade. If you take a trade and set your stop loss to 35 pips, or somebody gives you a signal and the stop loss is 50 pips, you are risking over 5%, almost 5% of your account on that trade. That is not good. So you need to know what percentage of your account you are willing to risk in any trade. You can decide, okay, I want to risk 5% because I'm going to gain 10% of my account. That's fine, okay? But be sure that you have set it. My own recommendation is 2% maximum. Now, how much of your account do you want to risk for the day, for the week, or for the trade? Now, as you have a positive target, you also have a negative target. Please bear that in mind. Your negative target is what we're talking about in 11 here. On a daily, what is the highest negative trade, loss that you can bear? Okay, for instance, you have $100 account and you say 10% of that account is my maximum limit for the day, and then you took your first trade, it was a loss. You took your second trade, it was a loss. You took your third trade, it was a loss. At the end of the day, you have lost $10. You don't take any more trade that day. No matter the signal, no matter the analysis, no matter the trade setup you see, you are not allowed to take any more trade that day based on the maximum risk that you have set for the day. So you have to set it for the day, set it for the week, and set it for the trade, for each trade as well. Now, the next thing is, how will you manage your trade when you get in? When you take your trade, what kind of trade are you taking? Are you taking a scalping trade? Are you taking a day trade? Are you taking a swing trade? Are you taking a position trade? When you take this trade, how do you want to manage it? Are you going to be monitoring it on your mobile device, or are you using a system to monitor it? Are you using an indicator? Are you following an indicator's direction? If it's an indicator, what on the indicator is telling you to keep the trade or get out of the trade? So you need to know all of this. Okay. Now, the next thing is, what is your exit strategy? How do you get out of a trade? Do you intend to wait until your trade hit TP or stop loss? That is one exit strategy. Another exit strategy is to say, okay, 20 pips is my target. Once it gets to 20 pips, even though my TP is 45 pips, but if it gets to 20 pips and I'm watching it, I'll get out of that trade. You need to know that as well. Then how much trading will you do in a week? That is, how many trades are you going to take in a day, and how many days are you going to take in a trade in a week? So how much trading are you going to do in a week? So for instance, now if I say, okay, I want to take maximum of 20 trades a day, and I'm trading for only 3 days a week, which means you are trading 60 trades in a week. So if something happens and you trade 30 days the first day, 30 trades the first day, and you trade 30 days trades the second day, then you are not allowed to take any more trade on the third day that you would have traded. Okay, so you have to put all that into consideration. Describe your ideal trade setup. Describe your ideal trade setup. It should be obvious to you, but maybe not to everybody else. What that means is this: if you look at your chart, what is it that you're going to see on your chart that will say, okay, this is my ideal trade setup. I can take a buy now, or I can take a sell here. Some people's ideal trade setup is signal from Sebastian. If Sebastian says buy, then I'm buying. If he says sell, I'm selling. Doesn't matter what the chart is saying. Yes, that could be your trade strategy or ideal trade setup. So you need to know what your ideal trade setup is. Some people's ideal trade setup is moving over crossover. Moving average crossover. 14 must crossover 50 and retest before I enter the trade. Or in a downtrend, my ideal trade setup is a retracement to the 14 moving average. Then I'll take a sell. In an uptrend, a retracement to the 14 moving average, then I'll take a buy. Whatever your ideal trade setup, you have to know it and stick to it. Now, what currency pairs do you want to trade, and which would you avoid? You have to know that. For instance, I know the currency pairs I want to trade and the ones I don't want to touch. Some of the currency pairs I don't want to touch are exotic pairs. I don't want to touch them at all. In fact, I will not touch them with a 10 meter pipe. Yes. So there are people, for now, no, maybe tomorrow I might decide to trade them again, but for now, I'm not touching them. I only trade major and minor pairs, nothing else. So that may be your style too. Okay, you can trade them as well. And are there days, weeks, or seasons you don't want to trade? I'm sure you understand that because we've talked about it extensively under trading, when to trade forex. And then how many positions will you have open at a time exactly? So do you want to have 10 positions maximum at a time? By the time you want to open the next, if you see an opportunity to take a next trade, you have to go and close one of the open ones before you take the next one. So you have to put all that into considerations as well. Then how do you do for your own what do you do for your own personal development? Like I said, you are a student always. Up till today, I am still learning. And even those I call mentors are also still learning. They take time to learn even from us. Okay, so what do you do to develop yourself? Are you going to be buying trainings? Are you going to be paying for trainings? Are you going to be buying materials? Are you going to be studying online? There are free materials everywhere, but it's going to cost you data. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you the effort to search for them. So what are you going to do to find those things to personally develop yourself? Now, the interesting part, what will you do with the money you make trading? Yes, take the babes out, eat good food, take the children out, buy a piece of land, buy that car that you have always said that you have set up in point 1 there, whatever it is, you need to know and you have to write it down. Now, how are you going to monitor your trade? It's the same as the point we have in 12. How will you manage your trade when you get in? How will you monitor your trade? I think that's a repetition. I'll probably just remove that point. So you need to know how you will monitor your trade, whether you're going to monitor it on your mobile device, whether you're going to monitor it on the system, whether you're going to be using alerts. There are alerts that your mobile MetaTrader 4 application can actually send you. So if your trade gets to a point, it can send you an alert either by SMS or by email or in rings, so that you know that that's going on your chart. So you need to have all these spelled out in your journal. All right, guys, that having been said, I am tired. I'm going to take this break, and then probably we'll have one more video during which we would actually do a trade analysis. We will actually look at the chart together and take a trade together, okay, so that you have an idea and see how I trade. Okay, so that is said. See you in the next video, and thank you for watching this. Have a beautiful time.